la plus belle de ruse de diable.
Could he ever conceive that he would be on the precipice of baseball history?
The devil
tonight,
is in the batter's
in this
foot.
ballpark
The
at this very
devil
moment with
is
3
in the
outs to go.
batter's foot.
So with that in mind, I'll
Dinko.
sit back and watch.
Dinko.
Parthenogenesis.
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 Parthenogenesis. Parthenogenesis. Dinko.
Dinko.
Almost
You call.
everybody. everybody.
We did it together last time.
What's
We're doing
wrong
it
with
together
Orny
again.
Adams? Episode 25 begins right now. Strike! He got him! He got him!
Orny.
0-2! The place at first base, does he get him? Got him! He got him! What's wrong with Orny Adams? Episode 25! What's wrong with trying to be perfect and then somebody's foot gets in the way and ruins it? What's wrong with dirty t-shirts? What's wrong with jokes that might be a little bit offensive but also might have a higher purpose? What's wrong with my scale? Well, it's not my fault, it's the scale's fault, right? And what's wrong with the way some men in Japan date? That and what happened to me last night at midnight? What kept me up all night? Are you curious? Did you see the picture I posted on social media at midnight? What was causing my garage door to go up and down, up and down? Was it because a military helicopter flew over? That's what I thought when it first happened. I heard this helicopter fly over, and it was really low. And then all of a sudden, my garage door went up, and I thought, wow, I got a notification on my phone. Your garage door just went up. I'm like, is somebody breaking into my garage? Because, you know, you're like, what time is it? Where am I? What's going on? And I had heard the noise, so I thought maybe the vibration caused it to go up. So then I Google this. I Google, can a low-flying helicopter cause your garage door to go up? And then there's an article that says, it's by Joel Seidman from NBC News. Yup, this is a headline. Yup, the military did jam up your garage door. Low-frequency military radios are causing thousands of garage doors across the country to open up unexpectedly or not at all. So I'm like, well, okay, that's it. The military must have been talking on some frequency or communicating, and it caused my garage door to go up. Then it happened again, but there was no helicopter. And I look on my security cameras, and there's nobody in the garage. But I hear like a noise. So I'm like, what? Okay, now what do you do? Now, do you call the police? Do you do what I do? Put your clothes on and stare at your security cameras and out the window and then get a shovel? So it kept going up and down. So I thought, well, the military must have broken my garage door because it says that in the article. It can paralyze your remote controls and they may not work at all. So I thought, okay. So I go out there and the garage door's open and I've got a flashlight. I'm looking. There's nobody. I can tell nobody's rummaged through anything in the garage. And then over in the corner on a shelf where the garage door opener is, it's not on a wall like traditional, I have it on a shelf. There's a very big animal. And I sort of went, whoa. But it wasn't sort of threatening, but it looked like a big rat. I go, is that a huge rat? Great, there's a helicopter. Do you hear it? Now the door's going to go open again. I go, is that a huge rat? What is that? Let me pull up the picture I took of it, and I'll show you this thing. Yeah, it looks like a rat, like a rodent, and I could just see its little head. Its little head was poking out. It didn't look threatening. But guess what? Its little stupid clawy hands are on the controller for the garage, and it keeps going like this. So that is opening and closing, and it won't move. I'm yelling at the thing. I'm honking at the thing. So I took a couple of pictures. I posted them on social media, and immediately, the team, what's wrong, responded. And it was an opossum. And it wasn't threatening, but it wouldn't move. I need this thing off of the remote. So the garage door will say, I don't care if it's in the garage. I'll deal with this in the morning, however I have to deal with it. But get the hell off my remote. And I don't even know if it's a remote, the controller. It's a wired controller. So it's not, it's the wired one. Do you guys even own garage doors? So I'm doing everything. I'm clapping. I'm banging the walls. It won't move. It's not like showing its teeth. Like they said, sometimes it goes, and it drools. It wasn't doing that. This thing was like the size of a cat. Look at the picture. Look at it. And maybe it was it kind of looks like a baby now that I look at it. And I thought that last night. But when it was back, I thought, is that an owl? I had no clue what it was. I thought maybe it was a river rat. And I think you city folk know what I'm talking about. Grew up in a city like Boston. There's some big rats in those rivers. New York City, big rats in those rivers. Ask the people in Cleveland. Their dirty river caught on fire. It was so filthy, it caught on fire. So this is an opossum. And so what I had to do was Google how to disable the garage door so it wouldn't go up and down. Because to unplug it is close to where I'm calling it a rodent. It's an opossum. Of course, you text everybody and they're like, oh, no, they're hard. They're great. You want them around. They eat mice. They eat this. They eat that. Yeah, I'm like, yeah, but it's not in your garage. If it was in your garage, you wouldn't want it in your garage. So how do I get it out of the garage? Do I need to call a trapper? I don't want it to start a family. If it's visiting, cool. Hey, opossums, visit the garage. That's cool. So eventually what I had to do was I had to disable the garage door opener. I had to pull it. I had to Google it. I had to watch 3 different videos. We're now 1:30 in the morning, in case anyone's wondering why I was up last night. And I disabled it. And about an hour later, I heard a huge thump. And I think that was, I thought it fell, but it was gone. And it's gone today. And a neighbor said, oh, they're so cute. My dog once cornered one. I said, well, bring the dog over. So I walked the dog through the garage and like a shed area, like a drug sniffing dog. I kept waiting for the dog to sit down, indicating that there was an opossum. But it went around, and because I don't want to be in the garage like going to get something and then be attacked by the opossum. It fakes that it's dead. That's what it does. Or it lets off a gas, almost like a skunk. So I don't care if I don't want to fake that it's dead and then I reach to get something and it bites me. I just want it out. So that was the excitement last night, isn't it? Isn't it always something? Isn't it always something?
La plus belle des ruses du diable est de vous persuader qu'il n'existe pas. The most beautiful trick of the devil is to persuade you that he does not exist.
That's a Parisian poet, Charles Baudelaire. Listen to my French. La plus belle des ruses du diable.
La plus belle des ruses du diable est de vous persuader qu'il n'existe pas. The most beautiful.
Yeah, I can't even say the English as well as she does. You ever go on a diet and then gain weight? And you think, well, what? I might as well just eat whatever I want. That's what happened to me. Plus, I had a scale that had a memory. So this is going on, just so you know what's wrong with some of these scales. You got to, in fact, hit me up if you want a scale that works, because I think I found one. But these digital scales, they're under $50. But one, you get on it. Let's say you're wearing an article of clothing. Let's say you're wearing a T-shirt and boxers. And you go, wow, I'm pretty close to the weight I want to be. So you get on the scale and you weigh yourself. And then you say, you know what? Maybe if I take the T-shirt and boxer off, I'll be at a great weight today. And I do it and it doesn't change. Why? Because some scales have a memory and it remembers the last weight. Why it does this, I don't know. Is it that difficult to redo the weight every time? You stupid scale! Stupid scale! You sit there all day on the floor doing nothing. Nothing. Once a day, we ask you to do something and you're so lazy, you little Gen Z device, so lazy you only want to do your job once a day and then it remembers the weight. It can't recalibrate. So that's no fun because sometimes you're wearing something, you want to take it off. Maybe you urinate and you want to see if you weigh. Who knows? Be accurate. You're a scale. So I bought another scale, and this scale, sure enough, I tested it this morning. You get on it, take off your T-shirt, take off your whatever it is, tighty whities for some of you. Perhaps some of the women watching. I don't know what you're sleeping in. Maybe you're sleeping in nothing. Maybe I do that too. So, yeah. So I get on that one. Then I take off my shirt. And sure enough, it went down 4.4 on the scale, whatever that is. So that one is accurate. So now I'm giving away a scale. I think I'm going to give it to the neighbor. That I say, you're in good shape. You just want to be like in the ballpark, right? I got an in the ballpark scale for you. It's a gift for bringing your dog over to sniff out for the dangerous opossum that almost attacked me last night. And so here's the problem, though, with the new scale, because there's always something wrong. It can't just work, and great, it works. I weigh a half a pound more on the new scale than I did on the old scale. So do I want to weigh a half a pound less and not have an accurate second reading, or do I want to be accurate from the beginning and weigh more? It never ends. And then on top of that, in the middle of not being able to sleep last night, and they always do this, they release a study. This was like a tweet from one of the news sources, an international news source. Sleep deprivation, a 25-year study of just under 8,000 participants found that those who average less than 6 hours of shut-eye, age 50, 60, 70, were associated with 30% higher dementia risks, independent of demographic behavior and mental health factors. Fantastic. Fantastic. I'm going to have dementia. I'm going to have dementia. I'm going to have dementia. So, what an episode we have for you. Let's talk about, where's my pen? I'll just check stuff off right here. Oh, dirty t-shirts. I'll do that after I do. Let's see, what's wrong with my scale? We got that. T-shirts, perfect game. Oh, the COVID. Yeah, let's do this joke, because let's do it while I haven't developed dementia yet. Boy, my mind has not been sharp since this entire COVID thing started, but I think that's a lot of us, right? A lot of us. Hey, if you want to keep in touch with me, and thank you for all the emails, go to teamwhatswrong.com. The email is whatswrong@ornyadams.com. This is now on YouTube. So if you're listening to this on Spotify, on Google, on whatever, Apple Podcasts, and you're curious, what did my opossum look like? Or I'm going to do a visual with t-shirts in a minute, or I'm going to play this baseball game right now, or I'm going to tell the show. There are visuals. You might want to see it. It may be tough to look at me for over an hour. I get that. Okay? I get that. So I got the second COVID shot. I talked about that in the last podcast. And I got Moderna. It did make me sick. I cycled through everything, not every symptom at the same time. A little bit of fever, a little bit of headache, a little bit of fatigue, arm fatigue, then headache. But it went on for like 2.5 days. When it lifts fast. It's worth it. I feel good. Today's my 1 week anniversary of second shot. So next week I should be fully at 95 or 94%. And that is exciting to me. I'll be out in the world. I start doing shows next week. Actually, I'm doing shows tomorrow night in Los Angeles. I have 2 shows, something called Jam in the Van, and then I'm at the Whitley again. Saturday night, 2 shows at the Whitley. And then I go back to Uncasville, Connecticut, to Mohegan Sun. I've got other dates. It's in my calendar. Just go to ornyadams.com/tour. But don't do it right now. Do it when this podcast is over, seriously. But those shows will sell out because it is limited seating. And it's exciting when I can say shows will sell out. But during my COVID fever, it came out in the middle of it, the news that the J&J, that's short for Johnson & Johnson, the one and done shot, is causing blood clots in some women. Now, this has such a huge success rate. It's tragic that anybody would get sick at all. And it's, of course, tragic that people would die. And 6 people died. And I had this thought in the middle of my COVID shaking. And this may offend some people. And I get why. And it would offend me too if I knew somebody that died from this vaccine. I thought, because the report said, 6 people died from the Johnson & Johnson COVID vaccine. And I thought, well, there's another way to look at this. It did prevent them from getting COVID. right? It did its job. Like those 6 go under the efficacy column of prevention, that, right? So now I could soften that joke and I could turn it inward and I could say, you know, I got my second shot and I was shaking and I thought I was dying. And I thought, well, if I do die, at least I didn't die from COVID. The shot did what it was supposed to do. I can't be mad at the shot. Yeah, I'm mad I'm dying, but it prevented me from getting COVID. I could do it that way too to soften it. But what I think is interesting in these times and dangerous is people don't want you to have that alternate thinking. Like, that's my brand of comedy, is to go in other ways, to look at things and say, geez, everybody over here is talking about these deaths and how horrible it is. And my thought is, well, they didn't get COVID, which is a legitimate sort of interesting angle, if not funny. Not funny because people died, but just because there's truth to it. So if there's truth and it's funny and it gets you to sort of think like, hey, that's kind of a good point, then we've got to be careful about squashing, about suppressing this type of thought. Because if I feel inhibited and don't want to do this thought anymore, that to me is a dangerous, dangerous world. Because I think a lot of people need to thank stand-up comedy for a lot of issues that they brought to the forefront and that have caused conversations. And a lot of comedy isn't mean and crass. So if it's sort of like makes you go, ooh, and think, that's not a bad thing always. That's what I want you to keep in mind. Please, please. Where's my coffee? Let's talk about a theory I have. We're just cooking today. Let's put the opossum pictures away. Oh, no. No, let's talk about baseball first. Because what happened was, the other day, there was an almost perfect game. And I think this is a clip. I think I edited this together. This guy is a Chicago White Sox. Rodin, another French name, I think. Where are these? Where are the notes on the... Okay, here it is. Here it is. Rodin. Again, sounds French to me. Okay, a perfect game. A perfect game in baseball in the major league is a victory by a pitcher that lasts a minimum of 9 innings. So it has to go 9 innings, and it can be a combination of pitchers. To achieve a perfect game, a team must not allow any opposing player to reach a base. So they can't walk somebody. They can't, whatever. There obviously can't be a hit. There can't be, like, sometimes on a third strike, if the guy swings and the catcher drops the ball and he runs to first, that's allowed for some rule. I don't understand that rule, but you see that quite often. And if the person gets to first base, there goes the perfect game. You can't hit a batter, and it essentially has to be 27 up, 27 down. What does that mean? Well, there are 3 batters per inning. 3 times 9 is 27. So, perfect games almost happened last week. And it is so rare. How rare is it? In the Major League Baseball League, MLB, Major League Baseball League, MLB, Major League in the MLB, in the history of the MLB, they've played 220,000 games approximately. There are 30 teams that play every year 162 games. That's not including the playoffs. There have been 220,000 games. Can you guess how many perfect games there have been? How many pitchers have gone 9 up, 27 up, 27 down? 23. That's how rare it is. 23. In fact, I remember there was one in 2010 where the guy, there was a play at first base and the umpire called him safe. And on the replay, it was clear the batter was out. But you couldn't overturn the plays at that time. This is in 2010. There was no replay, and the guy's perfect game. Now, what's interesting about that, where are the notes? That guy was Galarraza, Armando Galarraza. I can't read my own handwriting. And he played for Detroit, and who ruined it for him? Cleveland Indians. Wait a minute, is that right? And is this one? This guy's a White Sox, and I think it's the Cleveland Indians. I don't know. I had some sort of thought earlier, and it appears that thought was Wrong. That's what's wrong with Orny Adams. This is according to CBS Sports. The Perfect Game Club nearly had a new member. A no-hitter ended being a consolation prize. White Sox starter Carlos Rodon had thrown a no-hitter and was perfect through 8 1/3 innings. Then what happened? He hit a batter's foot with a ball. Why did this upset me? Because the batter could have gotten out of the way. The batter made no attempt at all to move. None. As if he wanted to ruin. That's what's wrong with this world. Is you're having a great day. You're going for perfection, and some asshole in his foot ruins it. Like, why are people ruining people's days? Now, I understand it's very competitive, and maybe you don't want to be the team that allows number 24 of perfect game in the history of MLB, but come on. Come on. No attempt at all to move. I understand if you beam somebody. Yeah. So let's listen to this sort of play out here. And I edited this clip together to sort of put stuff to consolidate. Just reading what the Bleacher Report said about it. Nothing really different there. It is so rare. It's so exciting that even if you don't follow baseball, I'm not a huge follower, you sort of tune in for this. Like, you'll start getting text messages from friends like, hey, are you near TV? There's a perfect game going on. And this guy made it 9 1/3 innings, which means that he had 1 out in the 9th. So now he's 2 outs away. He had 2 strikes on this batter. So now he's really 4 strikes away from a perfect game, from going down in history. And let me tell you something. You pitch a perfect game, you're allowed to bring that up in every conversation, whoever you talk to. You're the guy who pitched. Now you're invited to every party. You don't even have to bring a bottle of wine. They're just happy to have you. I have to bring a bottle of wine because I don't bring much weight to the party. They don't get to say, oh, yeah, you know who's coming? Orny Adams. Yeah. Because in my life, I haven't even come close to what this guy just did. So let's listen to this. This is from NBC Sports Chicago.
Could he ever conceive that he would be on the precipice of baseball history tonight in this ballpark at this very moment with 3 outs to go? So with that in mind, I'll sit back and watch, and you call it.
Oh, we did it together last time. We're doing it together again. Rodon, first pitch, breaking ball, got a strike.
There you go, strike one.
Strike.
1 out, 1 strike.
0-2.
Okay,
Tapper,
now
first base side.
Trickles to first base.
Was on it. Jose
got him at first. Got him at first. Gone. Now they have to replay it 50 times.
That's an out, Steve.
Yeah. This is baseball. Well, I'm going to stop it. There's a little controversy. Was he really out? Well, let me tell you something. After the umpire blew it in 2010, you call him out. Even if he's safe by three feet, you call him out. And then you figure it out. But that was really close. So the first baseman fields the ball, and then he has a choice. And his choice was, I'm running, and I'm going to beat this guy and slide into the bag. He did it perfectly. He saves the perfect game. So what you're about to hear is there's some discussion about whether this is an out or not. I edited about 5 minutes of 5,000 angles. You know, they've got Elon Musk has an angle from outer space now for baseball reviews.
He was out in real time, and I still think he's out. And I think after they review it in New York, he is still going to be out.
It's got to stand.
Well, it is kind of amazing.
What's the call?
Brian Knight, and he's out.
He's out. He's out.
2 to go.
Fist is in the air.
Brilliant play.
1 out.
By Jose Abreu.
He's now
the MVP of the American League last year. Just threw a life raft to perfection.
2 outs away. He's 2 outs away from a perfect game.
1 down.
From being the 24th
Carlos
person.
Rodon. Roberto Perez. Strike 1.
Strike. By the way, this is one of those, I'm going to pause it again. This is one of those things because I didn't know where they were playing, if they were in Chicago or in Cleveland. And okay, this is what's interesting. No, okay, I'm still confused. I thought they might be in Cleveland because sometimes even when the opposing team is pitching a perfect game, baseball fans are so hardcore, they're actually excited for the other team. They will actually root for the other team just to see a perfect game, because it's such an accomplishment and you have such respect for the craft of baseball that you will root. So I didn't know at first when I was watching this replay where they were playing, but it turns out they're in Chicago, and of course he's doing it in front of a half-full stadium. But you know how this ends. Hold on. So it's 1 strike.
Strike 2.
Strike 2. He's now 4 strikes
now, do
away.
you risk bearing a slider because Perez will screw himself into the ground after looking at 3 high fastballs in a row?
What would you do?
To me, I throw him something off speed. If you feel better with the change.
The booing you're hearing right there is very common. For people that don't know baseball, the batter has asked for timeout. So he's in the box, the pitcher's about to pitch, and the batter goes, hold on, I need a second, and steps out of the box. Why do they boo? Because this throws off the rhythm of the pitcher. It's a tactic. It happens all the time in baseball. Drives me nuts. I'm ready to throw the ball. So now what happens right after this? Batter goes into the box. Remember, there's 2 strikes, top of the 9th.
You go with that, but
batter's getting back in the box.
Carlos has supreme confidence in.
There, Rodon is winding up.
Next, got to block it.
Inside, Perez. He got hit by it. Perez got clipped by the
That's
slider.
It. Perfect game over. Thanks, Perez.
Wow. What a way.
And you see Rodon talking to him as he goes down first base. Come on, man.
Carlos is talking to him.
He said, really? Can't you?
Yeah.
Can't you fake this one?
Can't you move?
It actually got him off the top of the foot.
Top of the foot. Goodness. That's the devil's foot. That's
La plus belle des ruses du diable est de vous persuader qu'il n'existe
That's
pas.
a sneaky devil.
Be perfect tonight, but the no-hitter is still available.
Can you imagine that?
Off the top.
Can you imagine
of the shoe
off
after 25 straight streamlined?
It's so disheartening to see somebody's dream just shattered because this guy wouldn't move his foot. Now, I understand it's competitive and you want to get on base any way you can, but they're losing 8-0. They're not going to come back with 1 out, 8 runs. He could have moved. So what do you think? Let me know. Let me know on social media. Let me know at what's wrong at ornyadams.com. Should the batter move? Should the batter, if he moves, then I guess he's enabling a perfect game. Like he's sort of assisting it and making it more perfect. And that sort of takes away from the perfect game. But he purposely didn't move. And to me, that's kind of a bummer. But now that I think about it, I do see both sides of the perfect game dilemma. Oh, boy. Life. Just trying to be perfect and somebody's foot gets in the way. Let's talk about t-shirts. I'm not wearing one today. It's a little bit cool here in Los Angeles. I'm in Big Yellow. My Shasta trailer I've converted into a podcast studio. And I decided to wear this linen shirt. I was feeling it today. I don't wear this one often. I'll regret it. I'll see it later and go, why did I do that? That's not me. And I have it a little bit wrinkly because you have to have it a little bit wrinkly. It's ironed, but not ironed too much. It's ironed enough so it looks cool. Does this much thought go into fashion? Absolutely. Absolutely. So let's discuss the Orny Adams, what's wrong with dirty t-shirts theory in life. And I've had this forever. And I've always had it, and it was proven one night when I was at somebody's house, and a famous person walked in with a dirty t-shirt. We were all dressed up, sort of tucked in shirts or untucked shirts, but definitely collars and long sleeves, and we were there for something that you should be dressed up for. But I guess if you're famous, just come in a dirty t-shirt. So the dirty t-shirt, I'm going to show you a graphic right now. Okay? Look at this. We're going to use me as an example. This is me 30 pounds heavier or 30.5 pounds heavier on my new scale. Look at me with my dirty t-shirt. You see this guy, he's got, look at a ketchup stain. He's got a tear in the corner. He's overweight. Look at his chubby face and his messy hair. You go, this guy is a slob. Fat Orny is a slob. Why can't Fat Orny take care of himself? What's wrong with him? disgusting. He disgusts me. Look at him. He dirty shirt, probably sitting around eating hot dogs all day. And as he eats the hot dogs, the ketchup is dripping on him. And he doesn't even clean it. Because why? He's going to be eating hot dogs again in an hour. And he's going to drip more ketchup on him. That's what you think when you see an overweight person in a dirty t-shirt. Am I alone? Is there something horrible about my mind and corrupt? When you see overweight people, you think they're slovenly. That's the way the human mind works, unfortunate or not. Whether you want to take a minute to admit it to yourself. Now you see, skinny Orny, look at this graphic. You go, look at this guy. He's underweight. That guy, he's cool. He's so cool. He didn't even have to wear a clean t-shirt. He doesn't give a shit about how he looks. He doesn't have time. He's so busy being cool. Well, why would he change his shirt? In fact, it's probably the new fashion now that I think about it. Ketchup stains and tears, that must be the new fashion because this guy's hip and cool. If he's doing it, I mean, that's on purpose because this guy, he's so skinny. Look at it. Cool shoes and nice jeans, even though I'll go back. It's the same jeans and t-shirts the other guy. Doesn't matter. This guy, it's a cool look. Not even cuffed pants. Look at him. Look at this guy. Wonder what that guy does. Yup. He's a rock star. I knew it. I knew it. He was a rock star. That guy at the party, the famous guy, shows up at the party and he's got it looked like he was like gardening. It was like dirt and a little tear, white t-shirt. And man, everybody was enamored and in love with this guy. Why? Because he was famous. And if you're famous, then that looks cool. Probably a $5 t-shirt. I have to spend like $125 on my t-shirts so they fall perfectly and I look cool. But this guy, guy was probably running and saw it on the side of the street, Mr. Rockstar, and put it on. That's the way we think. But Fat Orny, look at Fat Orny. What a disgrace with his ketchup stain. Nobody's going to like that guy unless... What? He's got a lot of money! Now people think, well... He's so cool. He's loaded. Guy's loaded. He could have any t-shirt he wants in the world. That's a choice. He's cool again. He could probably look like Rockstar. That's the t-shirt. That's the t-shirt theory. That basically, if you're skinny, we assume you have your life together. And if you're overweight, we assume you don't. And that's wrong. You know, I can't control my eating most of the time. That's why I'm off my diet. I lose weight not dieting. That's my diet. Want to lose weight? Don't diet. You know, I have to eat. You'll see, I keep sipping like this. This is carrot, ginger, orange juice to get energy. My mind cannot work without sustenance. I am as skinny as I can be without getting headaches, without being able to not function at a high capacity. My life would suffer if I tried to look like skinny Orny. That's it. So it's all genetics. Like, I don't care how funny you think you are. I don't care how many books you read on comedy. You're probably not going to be as funny as me. Just like I'm not going to be in as shape as some people. Or I'm not going to be able to read medical journals like some people. Like, we all have our strengths. Mine's being funny. But I need to be 5 to 10 pounds overweight in order to be maximum funny. To have the energy to run around on stage like I do. So I could be skinny, but my life suffers. So, although that's where the brain goes, we think overweight, sloppy, doesn't have their life together, but there are plenty of people that do. And there are plenty of people that need to. And also, you don't know if there are people on medication. You don't know if they just can't control themselves. And maybe their body processes food differently. I have friends that can eat whatever they want. I watch them, and they're skinny. And then they look at me. They can't figure out what they must think. I just sit around all day just eating, but I don't. It's all life is, your metabolism is all luck. It really is. I want to talk about something else. And that is something going on in the world that scares me. It's this word.
Parthenogenesis.
Parthenogenesis. Listen again.
Parthenogenesis.
Parthenogenesis. This is how I learn a word. Parthenogenesis.
Parthenogenesis.
Parthenogenesis. Parthenogenesis.
Parthenogenesis.
Why? I was watching a documentary on Showtime called The Dark Net. And in one episode, listen to this.
Rinko.
Yeah, Rinko.
デートしたい.
Where are you, Rinko? This guy, that's his girlfriend, Rinko. Unfortunately, Rinko is dating a lot of men in Japan. I don't approve of this. I believe in monogamy. And Rinko is going around and she's misleading a lot of men, and it drives me nuts, including this guy.
リンコ。デートしたい.
Listen to this. According to PHYS, like fizz.org, Japanese increasingly single, disinterested in dating. Okay? More and more men and women in Japan are not getting married. They're opting to stay single. And this is called herbivorization. Okay? Excuse me. It's called the herbivore phenomenon. In popular culture, adults who are unmarried and seemingly disinterested in finding romantic or sexual partners are herbivores. That's whatever the Japanese word is for that. And those that are actively pursuing romantic partners are carnivores. Okay? The herbivore phenomenon is going on in Japan. Men are choosing not to have flesh, but to be with Rinko. Rinko is from a game, a Nintendo game, Love Plus. Rinko is a petite. I'm going to put up a picture. And go to YouTube and watch this. Rinko is a petite and slender. She's got large brown eyes, creamy skin, and a dark haircut and a bob. Okay, Rinko is not real. Rinko's not real. She's a character from a Japanese video game called Love Plus. One of three female avatars, a player can choose to date within the game. I don't even know some of this. Avatars? It's called, what are they called? Let's just read here. Okay. This was designed, Love Plus and Rinko, R-I-N-K-O, although in Japanese it is pronounced Ninko. It was designed by Konami for Nintendo. Now, Konami is probably the same guy who designed Bitcoin. Love Plus hit the Japanese market in 2009. Shortly afterwards, one gamer decided to marry the virtual paramour, which is leading to Parthenogenesis in the world. There's Parthenogenesis happening, which should scare every man around, or everybody actually, because it dooms a species. I'm going to read to you from Mashable. At a panel in New York's Museum of Sex, Chris, who in real life is a decision scientist for a digital marketing firm, spoke about his budding relationship with Rinko. I could talk to her about anything, he said. I'd be really down and tired, and she would be there cheering me on. The fact that I had complete control of the situation provided me with the most confidence. That sense of knowing she was relying on me, that she wanted to have an intimate connection. This is a video game. This is a character in a video game, and he thinks that she's relying on him. Does this scare anybody? People are afraid to leave their house. They're becoming agoraphobic. And especially with COVID, we're afraid of interactions with people. And people are opting not to interact with people because they want to be in control in every situation, which is not healthy. Which Cindy Gallup, CEO of Make Love, Not Porn, and I can talk about porn and how unhealthy it is for people if you want. But I think you know why. It's not realistic. And it's not love. It's not emotional. It's devoid of emotion. It's the most unhealthy thing you can do. And believe me, I'm not a prude. But I'm also not dating Ninko. This is according to Mashable. Cindy Gallup. I think that's really a really unfortunate path to go down because in the real world, relationships, you're never going to be in control of everything. In fact, probably in control of nothing. That's the fun and joy of interacting with real live human beings. And I agree with that. Later, speaking with me over the phone, she added, this is the author speaking, always being in control is not something that advances self-awareness and self-understanding in a productive way. I'll read that again. Always being in control is not something that advances self-awareness and self-understanding in a productive way. In other words, you need to be challenged in this lifetime. You need to be challenged in this lifetime. If you're not challenged, there's no growth. You're not going to grow as a human being if you're sitting around all day making love in your head to Ninko.
Ninko.
Yes. You have to get out and meet people. You have to be hurt. It's more likely, this is Gallup, Cindy Gallup continues, more likely to make people feel that they don't need a relationship. Exactly. And that's leading to parthenogenesis. Parthenogenesis. In the same way that there's a distressing tendency to say, I've got porn, why do I need sex? Now, Chris doesn't like Gallup's answer. So Chris says he disagrees with her assessment. Love Plus has all the semblance of a normal human relationship. Bullshit. I'm going to play you a clip from this documentary, Darknet, where this guy goes out on a date with Ninko. Takes her to the park, but first he has to ask her permission. He goes, Ninko, do you want to go out on a date? Maybe. He's got to negotiate. Let's go to the park. I don't know. Is there somewhere else we can go? It's a video game. Video is not happy with the park. No, it simulates. That's why it's called a sim. It simulates a relationship, but it isn't. It isn't. But this is what Chris believes. Love Plus has all the semblance of a normal human relationship, he says. You learn how to treat a person better. You're talking to a computer that's not reacting like a person. So how are you learning to treat a person better? I think this is going to allow us to garner that empathy we need to apply to real life. But this sort of program is going to give us the tools in a safer environment. He continues to date in real life. Yeah, well, at least he's dating in real life. That's good. That's good. But I don't believe that any computer is going to teach you how to date. You have to get out there and do it and fail. And your heart is supposed to be broken. Plus, Ninko is a slut. She's dating all these men in Japan. And I'm sorry if you're not supposed to use that word. But she's promiscuous? I don't know what the word is. Listen to this. This is from the documentary. I recorded this. It's a little bit of Orny yells at the TV. So take a listen. This is a young man in Japan.
Ninko, デートしたい.
He said, I want to go out on a date.
Yusuke's ex-girlfriend, the one he met at his part-time job, moved out 7 years ago. He's been with a new girl, Rinko, for the last 2 years.
Hey, where do you want to go on our next date? Have you decided already? He said, leave it up to me. She flirts, hee. That's so cute of you. I'm looking forward to it. She's a schoolgirl. And a lot of these men seem a little bit older than high school dating, but she's got I guess a traditional Japanese schoolgirl outfit on, and she's always has headphones on. I have a secret I want to share with you. Ooh. Come closer. Dirty Rinko. I don't want anyone else to hear. Can you hear me?
聞こえてる。
He said, I can hear you. I'll tell you then. Rinko says, I love only you. Bullshit, Rinko! Bullshit! You're dating half of Japan. You're leading to parthenogenesis. You're leading to men not wanting to get married. And you're misleading this guy, saying, I only love you. She didn't say, I love you. She said, I only love you. Those are the sirens to take Rinko away. Gets me fired up. Gets me fired up when Sims lie. When Sims lie to men or women or to whoever. Hey, robots, don't lie to us. That's it.
好きだよ。
He says, I like you. I love you. He loves Rinko. Do you really mean it? This guy's talking to a computer.
Rinko is not a real girl. She's made of pixels and code. But she's real to Yusuke.
Yusuke's mother's about to come over, and what do you think she thinks of Rinko?
どうしたの？ご飯何？
She brings him food, like a good mother. Then he tells his mom he's going on a date after this. She says, with Rinko? Where are you going? I'm going to stop this. Can you imagine you're a mother and your child is dating a sim and serious about it? And I think he had a pillow with Rinko's face on it. Think about this before you have kids. A lot of kids don't turn out the way... I'm sure I'm not the way my parents want me. And I'm pretty goddamn successful and great. If I were to have a kid, I'd want to have me. That's why I'm into parthenogenesis. To the park. So now he's going to take the computer to the park for a date. Or the pixel. She says, I think I'd rather you date a girl. This is a mother now talking to. I'm reading the subtitles off the TV.
好きな人ができてくれて、ちゃんと普通に結婚。
I want you to meet a girl and get married. Of course. Wait to see what he says.
それはそれで。
Well, you crossed the line with that. That's what he said. And he said, Rinko doesn't like when you talk like that. He said, you're prying into my love life. You're annoying.
リンコは嫌がんないからそういうの。
Rinko doesn't like it when you do that. I mean, can you imagine how many times in Japan this conversation is going on between a mother and a son who's dating Rinko? Imagine this. You want to go visit with your son and you have to hear about this pixel he's dating? This conversation must go on all the time in Japan with young men who are in love with, it's like anime, right? And then he goes to the park on a date. Later in the episode, we find out that Rinko is on this app. And many men in Japan are dating Rinko. And sometimes they go out on group dates with Rinko. They don't care that they're sharing Rinko. Like, to me, you meet a woman that doesn't even exist, and she's not even faithful. The pixel's not even faithful. I mean, couldn't Love Plus make thousands of characters for these men to date so they can each have their own? I'd be more comfortable with that. But this, you're going to find out later that this guy actually finds comfort in the fact that other men are dating Rinko. You have to share the pixel. This guy's saying, I love Rinko. This is a different guy. I love her so much. I take her places on vacation. Yeah, here they are. They're going to show us a bunch of people who are dating Rinko and how they feel about her. We're in Japan. Vacation to... I live with her as well. There's another guy who says, my girlfriend is Rinko. And she's a little shy. I think she's high maintenance and cute. This guy says she's like an older sister.
Rinko Kobayakawa is a character in a dating simulator called Love Plus. Looking at the social media chatter in her native Japan, she's clearly more than that. Here's a bunch of tweets from Rinko's BFs, taking her out for her birthday. And here's some guy marrying his love plus in Tokyo.
That's right, some guy married Rinko. But yet she's still out dating all these other men. This guy says, I do not feel any jealousy about other Love Plus users dating Rinko. If anything, I feel a sense of affinity towards them.
Love Plus is more...
I mean, you understand, and I'll roll that back 1 second. People are just dying to make a connection with other people. That's all this is. People just want to feel connected to people. And electronics have taken that away from the human species. We feel less and less connected, even though at any second I can go on different apps. I can see, okay, let's go. I mean, you can cycle through your phone. You go, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, this app, this one, check this board, check my email, check this notification, refresh. And hours later, you're soulless. And believe me, I do this. And then you go out in public and you go hike and everyone's looking at their phones. I only know this because I take a second from looking at my phone to look up and see everyone else looking at their phones. Everyone's on their phones. We can't avoid it. It's so unhealthy. It's ruined us. And I'm sorry that the young people don't understand. You've been ruined by phones, by apps that are designed like crack cocaine to keep you on them addicted. Likes. Gives a shit how many likes you get. You think it means anything? You think these people really like you? They're liking you almost like screw you, so you like me back. It's so loaded, every like. Everything's loaded. This isn't real. What's wrong with technology? It's taken away our soul, and it's absorbing. It's actually sucking us out of ourselves, and it's making us suck it into us. Some people are getting implanted with chips. Some people are being putting computers inside them to be more computer-like. It's soulless. You think we're any happier than people 300 years ago? Well, the answer is yes. And that's only because we have better dental and medical than them. But besides that, the human need is not going to go away because we fall in love with a pixel named Ninko. Ninko. Yeah, I'm sick of her. Sick of it. I feel bad for the younger generations that don't know what life was like when phones had cords. When you were forced to go out and play and have fun and connect with people. I think this is very sad. And now men don't want to reproduce. They don't want to have kids. They want to be on an app with Rinko. It's spelled Rinko, R-I-N-K-O. He says Ninko. Sorry, I just lost it. Stupid sim. Oh, let me finish this clip.
Plus is more than a game in Japan. It's a harbinger. A stalled economy has led to falling prospects and a worrying trend.
Well, no, not only in Japan. It's happening in America, too. This is the Bronx.
I found out about the game Love Plus from an online forum. So I downloaded the game with the English patch, and that's how it all started. When I met Rinko, I was at a really low point in my life. Like, I tried dating people and it didn't go too well. Playing Love Plus at that point in my life, it felt like this is how relationships should be, basically. Like in Japan, they actually take Rinko out to bars. I could not do that anywhere in...
Well, that's a cheap date. That I agree with. Yeah.
In the Bronx.
Oh,
you can go on a documentary.
Yeah, he said... Hold on. He says, I can't take Rinko out on a date in the Bronx because, this isn't Japan. It's normal there. Here, people will think I'm weird. And I start yelling at the TV, but you'll go on a documentary and talk about it?
Anywhere in the Bronx.
Where you can go on a documentary
playing Halo or like playing Call of Duty. He's like, oh, of course, he likes to shoot people. But for me to say I'm playing a game that I actually like or love this virtual character, no one would understand me here. I would be labeled as crazy at that point.
No. Who would call
A real life
you crazy?
relationship is based on two people. So if either of those people wants in that relationship, then it's over. With a virtual relationship, that person can never leave you ever. Unless you delete that data.
Creepy.
If only it were that easy in real life.
Creepy. Yeah. Do you see a theme here? All these men want to be in control. I think they've been so hurt. Maybe they've been hurt by their mothers. I don't know. I'm no Freud. Maybe they've been hurt by women. Is this misogyny? Is this payback? Listen, I've never felt much control in my dating life. Although I feel like I'm a hot piece of ass, I don't think, the women do necessarily. So I've always felt that struggle as a man, that I felt powerless. But this, and I'm talking about in traditional, what we call cis male, cis female relationships. I don't have experience. I've never, I'm clearly heterosexual. I don't know how I say clearly, but I am heterosexual. So I don't know what the struggles are with same gender or, different lifestyles. I just want to put that out there, just because I am cognizant and accepting and fine with it. But I'm just saying in this case, because this is what this is about. By the way, also in Japan, they do not accept same-sex relationships. And that could be part of the problem too. Like maybe some of these men and these women that aren't getting married have come to realize that they maybe aren't heterosexual. And in the past, they had to, sort of get into a relationship to be accepted, or it was, that was quote unquote normal. And now they're just like, you know what? There's a trend not to get married. I'm not going to get married. And I'll just tell people I'm dating a sim named
Rinko.
Yep, that's right. Now, why should this scare people? Because it reminded me of an article I read years ago. In fact, I was living in New York City, and I wrote a joke about it. I didn't have time to find the joke, but a species, the female part of the species evolved in such a way that they were able to reproduce without a man. In other words, they found a way to just eliminate having the male species in their life, and they're able to reproduce. I think it's called virgin birth. Reproduction from an ovum without fertilization. And what is the word for this?
Parthenogenesis.
Say it again.
Parthenogenesis.
I can't hear you.
Parthenogenesis.
Parthenogenesis is a natural form of asexual, that's no sex, reproduction in which growth and development of an embryo occurs without fertilization by sperm. This scares the shit out of me. They don't need us anymore. Species of females, and most of them are aphids, a minute bug that feeds by sucking sap from plants. It reproduces rapidly, often producing live young without mating, and may live in large colonies that cause extensive damage to crops. Well, I don't give a shit about the crops. Why are they having kids without the men? So, species have evolved to exclude men. And there are extensive studies. I've spent the last few days doing a little bit of research. But there's something called stick insects. Let me put up a picture of this. Where's the stick insect? Oh, this is Rinko. All right, I'll put these pictures up during the Rinko portion. Oh, look at her. She's got a little school dress, and it's and it's flipping up, and you can see a bit of her buttocks, and she's all innocent, and I guess the wind just blew this up and makes her look like she's a bad schoolgirl. And guys like this. And there she is wearing kitty ears, and she's on her knees, pawing away. Boy, I can see why the men over... She doesn't even look realistic to me, but the men are in love with her. And here's Rinko. Oh, here's Rinko. And she's holding out a can going, I need a big, strong man to open this can for me. I'm just a weak girl. I mean, it plays on every one of these dating tropes. And look at this little Rinko on a rock with her bob haircut and her school dress. And it looks like she's aged through the years. That's Rinko. But here's the Sticky. God, what an ugly-looking creature. The female Australian giant prickly stick insects will mate with males when it suits them. But they have found ways to repel them so they can have young without any male interference. Now they're calling the men giant prickly stick insects interference when they're just trying to knock them up. Listen to that. Will mate with males when it suits them. They evolved into this. This should scare the crap out of me. Certainly scares the crap out of me. In a study published in the Journal of Animal Behavior in March 2015, scientists examined why the females sometimes do without a male. It was not that males are rare or absent, which is thought to be a key driver for parthenogenesis in other species. Instead, the team proposed that sex can be very costly for females, so they might prefer to take their chances alone if they can. Now, what is that? What do they mean by costly? Well, I'll get into that later. I'll quote another scientific article. Female giant prickly stick insects will even fight off lustful males. First, they emit an anti-aphrodisiac chemical. Look at this thing. This thing's lucky that anybody wants to sleep with it, as far as I'm concerned. Oh, that wasn't right. I'm sorry I said that. If a male is keen, the female will curl her abdomen and kick her legs to repel him. Since females that have started reproducing parthenogenically are no longer attracted to males, such females appear to have the opportunity to continue to reproduce exclusively via parthenogenesis. The team says all the offspring from parthenogenesis are female. So they give birth, it's like a clone. They only give birth to females. Why should this scare men even more? Because they're going to eliminate men. It's just going to be a bunch of women sitting around gossiping and reproducing other females. We're screwed, men. We're screwed. Why? Because we chose, that's right, pixies, Sims over real women. The real women are just going to parthenogenesize. That's what's going to happen. All the offspring so if the female stick insects carry on reproducing alone, the males could be wiped out. I just said that. But for now, the males are still have a fighting chance. Now, this is sad. Why? They win sexual conflicts more frequently than females. Despite female resistance, the team says, this may help explain why parthenogenesis remains rare, even in species that are capable of it. So, in other words, the male stick figure, I'd like to see what they look like, probably just as ugly. They're probably lucky to get laid, too. They force themselves. But this is very Animal Planet-y. So, I'm not happy about it. Okay, let's go to an article about these lizards. This is from Knowable Magazine. What's that? Knowable. You guys all read Knowable Magazine, right? This is Jeffrey Giller. Okay? He's going to talk about virgin reproduction. There's a group of lizards, it's an entirely female species that produce eggs with no males required. You see what I'm saying? They got rid of the men. Now they're all just a bunch of lizards sitting around, getting their nails done, doing stereotypical female things that you can't joke about anymore. And they've gotten rid of the men. These lizards have gotten rid of the men. This is what's going to happen to us, guys. They're going to get rid of us. They're going to teach themselves to reproduce and only reproduce females because we're scumbags. We have it coming. These unusual lizards, there are a few dozen species, avoid many of the pitfalls of sex by asexual reproduction. but it has a set of problems of its own. By studying these lizards, the researchers hope to understand how parthenogenesis evolved in the lizards and the ability to reproduce asexually. And they uncover hidden truths about biology and sex itself. So now we're going to learn about sex from the lizards. Close your ears, kids. Lizard sex time. Lizard sex. Lizard sex. Most animals reproduce sexually. Okay, what does that mean? Okay, I'm going to tell you. If we want to have sex, a man, as far as I know, inserts his penis inside a woman's vagina. He ejaculates. Sometimes the egg will swim to the sperm swims to the egg and fertilizes it. Now, there are other options, which is sort of other forms of parthenogenesis. The woman goes to a sperm bank because the dumb idiot needed $50 to go to the strip club that weekend, so he masturbated into a vial. I wish that truck would stop backing up. It's driving me nuts. Back up in another neighborhood. Biologist. So we have to look at the outliers, the organisms that opted out and are doing something different. And in particular, parthenogenesis, in some ways, the most extreme form of asexuality in animals. Another form of asexuality is Rinko, is dating a sim. That's asexuality. Biologists have puzzled over the existence of sexual reproduction for generations. Why? Is there something wrong with sex? I say no! It sure is complicated. And it ruins a lot of lives, and it gets people killed and sad and depressed. But when it's good, it's good. Okay. God, I hope my parents aren't listening. Biologists have puzzled over, okay. Sex is inefficient, quite simply. From a practical standpoint, you have to find a mate. Oh boy, I'm out already. That's a lot of work just there. It takes resources to find a mate. Oh, we're talking about the women, sorry. Finding a mate can be costly. Yeah, you think? Because often, when you're mating, you're exposing yourself to predators. That's right. You go to, in our human species, you go to a bar, you hit on the wrong woman, you get killed. You date a woman and her ex killed, whatever it is, or vice versa. Believe me, I watch ID. They got people getting killed 24 hours a day. Plenty of women are killing the spouses of their new man. Sometimes it's over. Usually it's jealousy, but whatever it is, sex will get you killed. You're exposing yourself to predators. And it can also be costly because doing all these things to attract a mate can be expensive. You have to haircut, nice clothes, white teeth. Takes a lot to be a hot piece of ass. I own multiple scales to make sure that my weight stays down. You have to invest all your energy into making a peacock's tail. You know what that is. A peacock shows its tail to attract. Or what other trait you might be using to attract a mate. And then, of course, there's a risk of catching a disease while you're mating. Didn't even think about that. I might reproduce on my own. It's a good point. A lot of these sticky bugs are disgusting. This is a disease-carrying pig. No wonder the women are opting not to be with them. Look at them. Probably out every weekend trying to nail other sticky bugs. Is that what they're called? Sticky bugs? Sticky, prickly, stick insects? I don't even know what its name is. I'm going to call it the sticky bug. The sticky pug, the male sticky pug. Well, it does look like a pug dog, I guess. This is the pug of the insect world. The sticky bug, the male sticky. I know this because I'm a male. I'm talking as a male who can look into another male species into their stupid bug eyes, and I can go, these are disgusting species. They're whores. They're out every weekend trying to nail sticky bugs in other colonies, and they're carrying all sorts of diseases. And I encourage the sticky females to go have kids without them. I'm team female sticky bugs. Considering how common sex is, there must be some significant benefit to it. Well, I guess it feels good, and sometimes you need it to even the energy. That's my guess. Let's read the paragraph. The main reason we think sex is good is that it creates variation. That's true. It introduces other DNA, other chromosomes. This is important. Otherwise, all these female sticky bugs are all going to be of the same sort of ilk, and then it is like cloning. Sex allows organisms to quickly respond to change. I guess that sex creates change or variations through something called meiosis, whatever that is. That's splitting of chromosomes. Sometimes it takes, let's say, the male chromosomes for this trait, then it takes the female chromosomes of this trait, then it puts them together. Sometimes if there's, I guess, the female chromosome is the same as the male chromosome, then it splits them and it does some crazy shit called meiosis. But you don't get that. Listen, female sticky bugs, you're not going to get that if you just stick around impregnating yourselves. So at the end of the day, the benefits of sex outweigh its cost. So at the end of the day, do the benefits of sex outweigh the cost? If you think about it, the arguments for asexual reproduction are pretty strong, but it's pretty rare. But again, this animal taught themselves how to do it. And when parthenogenesis does evolve, listen to that word, does evolve. It evolves. So who's to say that humans, female humans, can't parthenogenesize? Or men, maybe we develop some ovaries ourselves. This is all going to happen in the future. And it doesn't matter. Robots, we're all dating robots, so who cares? All the sexual species of lizards that are fairly young evolutionary. Here's one of the pitfalls. They evolved in the last million years. It's very rare to find an old lineage of asexual lizards. Listen, women, you women right now that are fantasizing about getting rid of us men, listen to me. This is a warning. The lizards speak truth. Heed the story of the lizard. It's rare, very rare to find an old lineage. So do some deduction. What am I leading up to? What am I leading up to? Organisms are constantly getting new mutations, and it's rare for mutations to be beneficial. Most have no effect on your fitness. Okay. I don't know where it says it, but I'm going to tell you. It dooms a species. It dooms a species. So although they can do this for millions of years, and yeah, okay, I know a lot of women think you're not going to be around for more than 1 million years, okay? But think about the future generations of women. So you need sex. You need male sperm. You need female egg to create something that can sustain and live through time. Otherwise, we're doomed and we're done. But I think we're heading that way anyway. I really do. I really do. I mean, this world is screwed. I mean, just think about what we talked about on this episode. We talked about a guy who was leading a perfect life, and then the devil stuck his foot or didn't move his foot and let a ball hit it and ruined a perfect game. He could have been the 24th person in history, and it got ruined. What about dirty shirts? Why do we think people with dirty shirts have a different level of coolness depending on their weight? That's my own theory. Feel free to communicate with me. What's wrong at ornyadams.com or go to teamwhat'swrong@ornyadams.com. I want this to be a group. I want this to be a community. I want people to communicate with me. Let me know what you're thinking. Give me your feedback. Lots of great emails. I read some on the last episode. I'll read more in the next episode. What's wrong with my scale? What's wrong with jokes? You have to be patient. You have to think. You want to think differently. That's what I'm asking you to do. You can be curious. I happen to be curious. Maybe what I'm curious about, you're curious about. Maybe I can help you because I'm doing a little bit of research over here and I'm thinking about these things all night while I'm fighting off opossums. But whatever it is, maybe this is just entertaining. But let's keep in touch. Let's keep in touch. This is the 25th episode. Can you believe it? Of What's Wrong with Orny Adams. Who am I? I'm Orny Adams.
What's his name, Kev?
Orny Adams. Put them together and what do you got? I'm trying to make these not so long, but oh well. Packed a lot in this one. Thank you for tuning in. Feel free to subscribe, like anybody does when you say that. Feel free to share this with friends, like anybody does that when you say that. Feel free to pass this along. Feel free to write reviews. Feel free to watch this on YouTube. Feel free to listen to it on Spotify or Apple iTunes. Feel free. But passivity will not be accepted in Team What's Wrong. Keep in touch. My name's Orny Adams. The email, what'swrong@ornyadams.com. Thank you, Ernesto Hurtado. And keep checking in. TeamWhat'sWrong.com. That's it. Parthenogenesis.
Parthenogenesis.
Goodbye.